Grow My Cleaning Company teaches owners of cleaning companies just like you how to grow your company, make more money, and finally take charge of your financial future and your life. This podcast is about automating and creating systems that give you time and money freedom so you can grow like crazy without losing control. Since this is totally free, if you're getting tons of value, want to support us and make sure that you get more of the good stuff, subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast today. Now, on to the show. Hey, Cleaning Nation. I am talking with Megan McVicker, owner of Green Clean Machine. This lovely young woman started her journey in 2020 in San Luis Obispo, California. Almost positive I said that wrong. She's an eco-clean advocate after experiencing toxic overload as a child. We're helping her family's cleaning business. This lady's on a mission to help friends, family, clients harmonize their homes, get rid of hazardous products, and spend more time doing what they love. All right, if we were talking to the general pop, I would have lots of questions about the hazardous material and all of that. But since we're talking to owners of cleaning companies who probably are already pretty familiar with some of that stuff, let's talk about you, sister. Before we dive in, what's an interesting fact about Megan? So Megan's one of our elite members and amazing human beings. And I forget, honest to goodness, we were on a coaching call. I remember you said something and I'm like, holy crap, we need you on the podcast. And then I slept since then. So I forgot what that is. So we want to hear what that was for me and for the audience. But before we do that, I know you pretty well. We spent some time because you're in our group. What's something about you I don't know that will surprise and delight the audience as well?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is, and it's kind of funny, but I met my husband on MySpace.
Wow.
About 15 years ago. And
I was going to say, that wasn't last week because that MySpace, I don't even know if that's around.
No, and it wasn't quite what it was back when I met him. It turned into something else a few years later, but I was living in Illinois and he was in California. And I'm like, you know what? He's pretty cute. So I flew him to O'Hare and we met and we've been married for almost 11 years now.
That is awesome. And all from MySpace.
Oh, thank you, MySpace. Thank you, Tom.
Yes. Oh, I remember Tom who loved her. That is a fact about you. I knew you were married. I didn't know your awesome story. That is super cool. All right. So now, just because I'm driving myself nuts with the curiosity, what did you say on our coaching call that prompted me to go, holy crap? And if you don't remember, I guess we'll just keep going, but it couldn't have been that good if neither of us remember.
You know, I think it was the fact that I had almost argued with you about starting a podcast. I think I did argue with you because I'm like, I don't have time. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want to.
By the way, I love Megan's voice of herself. Like, it's funny if I mocked you, I'd use like a high kind of girly voice, but it's because I can't do your voice. I love that you could do your voice perfectly, but you're like, oh, this is crabby Megan. So you've got a crabby Megan voice and then your regular Megan. I like the crabby. Okay. But tell us more. What did Crabby Megan say? I don't want to interrupt. Continue. I like that chick.
That's okay. I think it was a couple weeks prior. I said, no, I don't want to do it. And then I had a realization that I have an issue with being vulnerable with people. And I didn't want to present myself in a way that clients or customers would be turned off against. And that would mean that I could lose business. And that would mean that my business would be a failure and I wouldn't be making any money. And then it would be scary. So I think the following week I came back and said, I have somebody working on the intro, outro music. I already have a game planned. It's going to be super fun, lots of shenanigans, and we might have a drink here and there, and we might just goof off and have a good time. And I already had 6 people lined up that were so thrilled to be on the podcast. And it was within like a week or two. And you're like, that's it. We got to get her on here. I'm pretty sure that was it.
That was it, because I now remember crystal clear that entire conversation, and I'm now reinvigorated about how good this podcast is going to be. So, Cleaning Nation, what this particular episode is about is not why you should start a podcast. They're great people in our program. We built our business on it along with some other things, so we definitely encourage people to do that. Yeah. And maybe we'll do a podcast about that, but this is not that. The thing that I was so excited about Megan on is that transition from crabby Megan doing the voice of I don't have time, I can't do it, to coachable Megan. And it's so funny when that switch flipped. I wish I could say, oh, I helped Megan get all those guests and all these magical things that kind of started feeling like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Even the ideas you had about we might even have a drink and it's going to be fun. all of that. I wish I could take some credit on the coaching, zero credit. It was completely Megan just being coachable and shifting her mindset from that is going to be a lot of work. I hate it. I don't want to do it. I'm scared. The one conversation that we had that I think helped her, and then everything else was all Megan, was, and you said it so perfectly. I wish I could go back. If only this was recorded. We should play back the tape at this point. Stop and go back a minute for Megan when she's like, if I do a podcast, I'll have to be vulnerable. People know who I am. They won't like me. Everybody will quit. I'll go out of business. And it's funny because I think Megan is 38% joking, but that thought process is real. Whether it's a podcast or any sort of change, there's that, if I do this, we tell ourselves all sorts of lies. And the worst is 2 truths and a lie. Trace and I talk about this. So truth, if I start a podcast, Mike's coaching me to do a podcast. That was the truth. Mike says, if I'm going to do a podcast, I should be vulnerable. That was the truth. Then comes a lie. If I'm vulnerable, people discover who I really am. That's actually another truth. 3 truths and a lie is even worse than 2 truths and a lie. Yeah. Then if they discover who I am, I'll be broke. They'll hate me. No one will love me. And then all this crazy stuff that's just not the truth. So how did you, Megan, go from, and again, guys, gals, this is not about starting a podcast. It's about looking at something you want to do or feel like you should do in your life and changing how you look at it, with podcasts or anything else. So how did you, Megan, go from this is going to be too much work, I don't have enough time, to this energy you have now of like, holy crap, it's going to be fun. And from, if I'm vulnerable, the world's going to collapse, to, holy crap, if I'm vulnerable, that could actually be fun. That might be freeing. How did you make that transition?
I had kind of gone through that monkey mind status, as Tracy says. And then I also went down that rabbit hole knowing I could back myself back out of that rabbit hole because I had already done it. If you think about it, I had already kind of quit my job. That's a little bit, I won't go into that too much. But I had started a freaking business in a pandemic. I went through with it, even knowing that it may or may not work so well. And not only that, but I had started to think about some of my friends that have been so open and honest, and maybe they're not like me, and they're not, they don't have the same opinions as me, but they actually just said, hey, look, this is me, take it or leave it. And why can't I do that? I've always been like that. The fear was getting it out on the internet and having people, anybody, it doesn't matter who they are. They could be local business owners. They could be somebody in Alaska or wherever. And they just go, well, I don't like you. And then I thought, who cares? You don't even know me. So it just was really
even better. Maybe they do know you. Maybe they listen to a bunch of the podcasts and you're super vulnerable and they actually don't like you as a person.
And that's fine.
There you go. That's the Megan that I want to hug. She's like, yeah, okay, there you go. They don't like me.
Yeah, you don't. And that's the other thing is I've been trying to remember that is it's okay if you don't like me. Maybe I won't like you. Okay, move along. Have a good life. I don't care.
You don't have to have this fight.
I've got stuff to do.
There's 6 billion people in the world. I could not, and I love Megan, but I could not like Megan and she could not like me. We could just go on living our separate lives. We don't have to have a big thing about it. So, all right. I love you making that shift from this is a lot of work. It's scary. And it still is scary, right? I don't, now that you're looking at it differently, I still think it's still scary. You still got to do it. How did the ideas start flowing? Because I love the moving from, so funny when your attitude, mindset, belief, whatever was, this is work, it'll ruin my business. You had that kind of resulted in other thoughts, other processes, other actions. And everyone always wants me to tell them the actions. And we do that in the program. We love that. But if we don't get the beliefs and the thoughts right, the actions will never happen, right? I could have yelled at you and begged and told you and brought out charts and graphs, a podcast, all that stuff would have been ineffective against Crabby Megan. I mean, you heard her voice. She was terrible. But once we changed Crabby Megan's thinking, then all of a sudden, all these creative ideas just started flowing. So how did it feel to make that transition? And give us some of your amazing, crazy ideas and share how the old beliefs kept you from having them and the new beliefs made them just the natural next step.
It really would have stemmed from the fact that I had been in a medical technician position for 15 years. And that's all I knew. I had taken countless medical courses, sales, training, management. I mean, you name it, I've taken every course in it. And my mind was so focused on, well, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Might as well keep going. And then all of a sudden I thought, this is not the life I want to live. I have always wanted to have my own business. I watched my parents have their own businesses as I grew up, and I watched them be successful. And then I watched some of them be not so successful. So I knew I was always good at something. I had to start somewhere. I was always super good at cleaning, great with customers, incredible diffusion skills. You know, I have some of those clients and customers and patients that are just like something snaps in their head and you have to calm them down. I'm really good at doing that. And just going through in that moment when we were talking and going through the tactical call, I thought, I am not giving up on this. I have worked so hard over the past year and a half to get this built, and then to start it in January and for it to crash in March. That was something out of my control. You could not, none of us could control it.
Hold on really quick. We're recording this February 2021. She started January 20th. COVID hit in March. And by the way, just quick coaching for the world, and Megan can take it and then we can go on with the story. We certainly can't control COVID hitting. We certainly can't control how the world responds to COVID, but we absolutely can control how we respond to COVID. And I got to tell you, in Cleaning Nation, we've got lots of people that folded up shop and called it a day. And we've got lots of people that are wildly successful. Same COVID, same cities, different response. Yep. Continue.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I was going to get to, is that I could either let it get to me and I could just say, oh, poor me. Oh, it's Crabby Megan again. Watch out. This is sad Megan. Oh, poor me. And
I got to say this. If you do these voices on the podcast and anyone doesn't like you, they're out of their damn minds. You don't want them as friends anyway. I'm loving the voice. I love sad Megan. Just so on your podcast, we have to have Crabby Megan and sad. We already have 3 characters: Megan, Crabby Megan, sad Megan. I'm sure you got more in there, but I am loving it.
I love voices. I love accents. I love different languages. And I think it's super fun. Anyway.
All right, hold on. Now we're going to put you on the spot. Sorry, if you tuned in to learn about how to grow a cleaning company, you're not going to like the next 1.5 minutes. Megan, let's have your favorite accent. Talk to us.
Oh, I love the Irish accent. It's just so whimsical and free. You have to give me a minute though, because
it's a pretty good one.
It's very strange. There's Northern Ireland accent that sounds kind of like a little bit Scottish and English, and then you've got your Southern Ireland accent.
The Scottish, English, the Northern accent, talking about how COVID's made up by the government. I would love that. If we could just do that for 1 minute. I promise we'll go back to the podcast.
Oh my God. I seriously, I didn't say I was good at accents. I said I
like the accent. I'm not asking you to do it well. I'm asking you to do it and have some fun.
Oh, okay. So they say no really weird. They're like, no. It was so I did not know that we were going to be in some sort of, horrible, raging, icky sickies. So I had this thought, I have to keep going. That sounded a little bit
I don't think it was Irish, but it was
Middle Eastern.
I think we entertain the people. All right, make sure you email Megan or me if you love/hate that. And if you hate it, you're just a bad human being, because Megan was awesome right on the spot. All right, continue in whatever accent you like. I had to have more of that voice. So yeah, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I just felt that if I didn't keep going, then I was giving up on myself, and that I couldn't do that anymore. I had dreams. I'm not going to give up on them. So I persevered, and I went through that horrible period of March through July, and I got 3 new employees. I got a bunch of jobs, and then something hit again. I wasn't making any money. I was actually paying money out of my bank account to pay my employees. And I'm going, whoa, something's not right. I hired a couple of other coaches before I discovered you guys. And they were like, oh, your prices seem fine. You should be making money. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not making money. So then I just kept reaching out. And I found someone who was local. This is the most incredible part. I have to tell you about her. She had been listening to your podcast for several years, and she went from 3 years of not making any money, struggling. Well, she had kids. I won't say her name for privacy purposes, but she had a local business that one town away, and she had been making what she wanted to, maybe around what she wanted to, about $6,000 a month. And that was fine with her. I mean, for me, that sounds great because I'd love to make that in the next couple of months, which I feel like I should. And she had closed her business in April. And I reached out to her and I said, what happened? I'm not trying to steal clients from you. I'm not trying to do anything but to find out if I can help you and if we can help each other. And I was kind of scared because, there's always this cat fight between businesses. Like there's always competition, which is BS in my opinion.
Quick thing, by the way, I love that Megan said, I don't want you guys to miss, or gals to miss this. I reached out. My goal was not to get her clients or to be a vulture picking off the meat. I just wanted to see if I could help her. And I love Megan's heart going, I was afraid. She was, I know what my intent was. My intent was to serve this poor woman that I felt bad about, had a good business, she didn't, and just find out what happened. And is there any way I can help? And maybe she would have, we'll hear how the story, I don't know how she's going to respond, but I love you saying, I just can't sleep with myself not doing something to try and help. And if this lady tells me to piss off, then that shall be it. And we'll see what happens, but if I can help her, then I just love that you were more worried about her, not if it made you feel good or how she responded. That is huge. And again, I've not, full disclaimer, I have no idea. Maybe Megan will make me look stupid or the story will make me look stupid, but typically when stuff like this happens, it really works out for everybody's benefit. I'd be shocked if Megan's and she started stalking me and, kidnapped my child and we're in hostage negotiations currently. I'd be shocked, generally there's something. So how did it turn out? But I love, regardless of how it turns out, I love how you showed up. That's because you can control that. How she responds to how you show up, you have no control. How you show up, you have massive control. So now it's a cliffhanger. How does this unlock?
I need to know. So she wrote back almost immediately and said, call me. I went, oh, okay. So I called her right away and she said, let me help you. So I went, whoa, this completely turned around. And we had countless phone calls, text messages, emails. We met in person. She just taught me her secrets for nothing. She said, I just want to help you because I know that what you're doing is not to make money and run away. You're doing this because first and foremost, you want to help people. That's where your heart is. And then it'd be great if I made some money. I mean, I need to, I got to pay my bills, but she could tell just from the emails and the phone message that that's what I wanted out of life is I just want to make a difference. So we went through the whole process. It took a couple of months. And then she had told me that she was listening to your podcasts and it helped her change her business completely. And she was so grateful. And I thought, I'm going to just go for it. I'm just going to do the program because I know that this is going to help me specifically rather than just try to find things out of podcasts, which is also a great way to learn. But I thought the program is going to be way better.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so much to unpack there. First of all, I want to encourage you, Megan. There are thousands of people listening to this podcast, and you are doing what that woman did for you, for them, right? And you may or may not get to meet them, right? So maybe at some point, someone's going to call you and go, holy crap, I listened to the podcast, or what you said changed my life, or I went through whatever, something that you said influenced me and my life's better. And I just wanted to reach out and tell you how you've impacted me. So I love that goal of just helping this other human being. And she's like, oh, no, I have something to give to you. And now you're kind of in that same position. And for Clean Nation, I want to give you a quick encouragement for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, I want to do that, but I'm not bold like Megan. I don't know who to talk to in my area. If you go to growingcleaningcompany.com, on our Facebook, we have a Facebook group of 10,000 owners of cleaning companies to join. And again, we can't vet it. Our clients we vet and we make sure they're all good. But so please, they're not all going to be great. There's 10,000 of them. Some are going to be great, some aren't. But I promise there are thousands of amazing people within that 10. I'm not saying everyone is amazing. There's probably some knuckleheads that we haven't banned yet. But that's a great free resource to start and encourage. And again, just remember, I love Megan's experience, but you still have to kind of vet out who you listen to, and not everyone knows everything. And it sounds like the gal that
I was lucky.
Was bright. Yeah. Well, see, I'm going to disagree on the lucky. I think when you show up the way that you show up, you attract talented, smart people to you. So
Okay.
I'll give you, there was some luck involved, but I think that was secondary. Primary was who Megan was, how she showed up. If she called that lady and said, "Hey, heard you're out of business. I'll give you 10 cents on the dollar for every one of your clients." That Megan, and we'll need a voice for her as well. Bad negotiator Megan, or mean Megan.
She sounds like this.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't talk to her. Bring back scared and crabby Megan. I like them much better than that other Megan. Terrible. She wouldn't have been, that Megan wouldn't have been so lucky. And I'm doing the huge, ridiculous air quotes because obviously that luck has little to do with it. Okay. I could talk with you for like 64 hours, but you have a life to live. And I shan't tire of your voices, but maybe Cleaning Nation would. I don't know. So I'm going to give 2 quick questions that you can answer fairly rapid fire. And these are just, I like hearing them, and it's always fun for Cleaning Nation. What was the favorite thing I asked you to do in the elite program? Because I also like people that aren't in the program, like I still want to see them get some benefit. The favorite thing I asked you to do and how that worked out, and the least favorite thing I asked you to do and how that worked out, whether you did it or not, or worked out well or poorly, that's up to you. But just like, oh, when I asked you, like, I'm loving doing that, how'd that shake out? The other one, you're like, I don't want to do that. And how'd that turn out?
Well, the first one,
real quick, when I say I mean we as a team. So if Tracy or Jared or, in the program, it doesn't have to be me, anyone on the team ask you what was the favorite, least favorite.
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is filling out the COGS sheet. That was so satisfying to me.
Hold on. Cost of goods sold for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
COGS that's okay. Just in case someone missed it. Cost of goods sold, COGS, how much it costs you to do the work. Continue.
That was really, really satisfying. It was hard work. I was ready to do it because I knew it was almost like I knew that it wasn't going to turn out how I wanted it to turn out. And that's great, because then that motivates you to be like, okay, I got to get my shit together. Let's do this. I have a lot of work to do. So it was really satisfying to fill out that worksheet. And I would say
least favorite, I want to encourage Cleaning Nation. That's so many of you are like, I don't want to know my numbers because they won't be what I want. And hopefully you heard what Megan said. So if you have in the back of your feeling, if I go figure out my numbers and get someone to help me really dive in and know if I'm making any money or not, I may find out that I'm broke. You absolutely will. That could be a fact. How you respond, completely crabby Megan would have said, therefore, if I just don't dive into my numbers, I won't know I'm broke and I can avoid the whole problem entirely, which is silly when we say it, but if we just think it and don't say it out loud, it doesn't sound silly. I love Megan's energy. She goes, and that was great. I felt so good. It gave me power. Literally, your numbers didn't change regardless of your attitude, but the way that you approached it changed everything. So I'm hoping you guys are seeing how Megan is showing up is a lot of the magic. We can certainly say, do A, B, and C. And if Megan shows up, I don't say wrong, but committed to excuses more than committed to results, A, B, and C ain't gonna help at all. But when amazing Megan shows up, who you guys have been talking to this whole time, we give her A, B, and C. She's amazing. All right. What was the least favorite thing that we asked you, any of the one on team asked you to do, and how'd that shake out for you?
I think you know the answer to this one, but it ends up being a good thing. Is I did not want to do a podcast. I was determined. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And then I flipped it around. I told myself everything's going to be okay. And here we are. So it ended up being my least favorite thing that you asked, but now I'm really excited about it. I'm charged up for it. So it wasn't really a bad thing.
So I want to encourage you guys. Again, I don't want you to miss the point and be like, okay, note to self, start podcast. If you want to start a podcast, God bless you. That's fine. But that's not what we're talking about. The note to self should be, if I've got a coach or a mentor that I trust and he or she asks me to do something, the more I don't want to do it could be a red flag that that's something that needed to be done most. So I heard both of those things with Megan. It's just how she responded. The first one was the numbers. That would have been non-negotiable. So like, if you don't want to do a podcast, that's fine. We'll help you get good clients and that's fine. For you, I would have really pushed you to do a podcast because you need to be on a podcast. You were so charming and so amazing. But the numbers, so I just loved that the first thing was unpalatable, but because she looked at it in a certain way, it was super effective for it. And it was actually an enjoyable experience. The second thing we asked her to do, the way she approached it at first was negative, and she had that experience, and we didn't change. I wasn't like, here's a magic way to make podcast fun. And she's like, oh, well, now it had everything to do with Megan, nothing to do with me or anything. Yeah. As soon as she just decided, I'm going to look at it like this, same work, and it really could be work or fun. I'm enjoying this. This is my job, but I love Megan. In fact, we're talking and we're going to broadcast, and other people are going to get benefit, and Megan's going to be like this popular person. All that just is like, I guess if this is work, I'll do it. So I love Megan kind of showing, here's what it looks like to just absorb something with the right attitude at the beginning, and it works out great right off the bat. And then here's what it looks like to kind of start pushing back, but being coachable and being more committed to the result that you want than you are to being comfortable, and then changing your mindset and having the exact same thing we asked you to do completely change. All right, Cleaning Nation, you guys and gals are amazing. If you want more help growing your cleaning company, growing your mindset, really growing you as an owner, go to growmycleaningcompany.com. I think we have nothing for sale there. There's just more content like this. We've got an amazing, the probably best place to start would be our free online masterclass. It's like 40, 50 minutes. It's the best of the best that we have all packed in together. Go there, check it out, join the Facebook group. I'm sure Megan's in there. Give her a hello and tell her what a big fan you are. And Megan will make sure when you launch your podcast, we'll give it a shout out in the Facebook group as well. So all of your happy mini fans can follow you. All right, sister, great job. Talk soon, Cleaning Nation.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you're fired up, ready to grow, and want to see if you have what it takes to work with us at Grow My Cleaning Company, here's what I want you to do right now. Go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. That's growmycleaningcompany.com/talk to book an appointment to speak with me personally. I'm going to jump on the phone with you to get you crystal clear on where you are now, where you want to be, and how to get you there. Don't walk around in the dark any longer. If you are serious about growing your cleaning company, it's time to finally get the systems in place that you need to grow. We've helped hundreds of owners of cleaning companies not only grow their business and their personal freedom, but give back to their community as well. If that's what you're looking for, head over to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk and book a time to talk with me personally. I can't wait to get to know you and your business.